The 2023 Chasing Red La Vuelta series will feature some of the most epic routes in Zwift. The overall classification is surely to be decided on the stages with the most elevation gain. This year's tour features a total of 9,085 meters of climbing. Today I picked out the toughest 5 stages that are sure to see time gaps form. Let's start our rankings with number 1 and see what La Vuelta stage each is modeled after. Number 1, the Quatch tracks stage 13 of La Vuelta. The La Vuelta route features a brutal day of climbing with 4 tough climbs, and most notably, 2 horse category climbs. It has a summit finish on the featured Col de Tourmalet. While the Zwift riders won't be forced to climb 2 horse category climbs at altitude, they will be punished with 3 tough climbs of their own. The route starts right away with the Titan's Grove reverse KOM. Although this is less than a kilometer, it will set the tone for the day to come. After passing some flat, the epic KOM forward will be the first climb where splits are expected. It is a 9.5 kilometer climb with an average of 3.9%, but has certain sections which are much steeper. Expect some bold riders to make an attack and try and form a group of strong men to work together. Although huge gaps aren't expected to open, be worried to not lose competitors' wheels and lose time in the GC battle, as about 15 kilometers of descent and flat follow this one. Finally, the day will end on one of the toughest climbs in Zwift, the Alp to Zwift. After a long day, the rider's legs are sure to be tired, and this is where the GC may be decided. With its 21 hairpin bends, 12.2 kilometers of climbing at an average of 8.5%, it is sure to form gaps. Expect many riders to try and hang on to the pace for the first couple of bends. The midway point that the front group will be whittled down to the strongest 5 or 6 riders. Remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint. It is okay to let wheels go on this one and ride at your own pace, as this tactic may just prevent you from blowing up in the last kilometer. Number 2. This route tracks the Port de la Rue on La Vuelta, which sits in the Western Pyrenees on the border of France and Spain, with a summit of 1,578 meters. It is the most feared climb of the day in La Vuelta, but is part of an epic day with 2 horse category climbs and a summit finish on a Cat 1 climb. Much like the Port de la Rue, the Chasing Red series will tackle the feared Bologna climb. Oh, and I forgot to mention this is expected to be climbed 5 times, as a course profile just over 40k and nearly 800 meters of climbing implies it will be longer than the typical time trial route. While this route is typically used for time trials, Chasing Red has chosen to feature it as a full race. The climb itself is 2.1 kilometers and averages 9.6%. Expect gaps to form the first time up, especially when the gradient maxes out over 16%. Each time through, I expect the field to shrink, and by the final climb, the front group is expected to be only 5 or 6 riders strong, with chaos all over the rest of the field. This will surely create gaps for the GC battle and allow for an exciting day of racing. Number 3. Tracking stage 11 of the La Vuelta, which is fairly flat but ends on the Category 1 La Laguna Negra Venusa, a 6.5 kilometer climb with an average of 6.8%, and the final kilometer kicks above 14% gradients. The peloton at home will be required to complete an even more difficult route, with 3 monstrous climbs. Over 800 meters of elevation gain, but only 26.3 kilometers. The pace will be high out of the start gates as the riders warm up with the Volcano KOM. Most of the top end riders will likely stick together and a strong group will form behind. After this warm-up, the riders will have some flat before tackling the reverse epic KOM, which is 6.3k and averages 5.9%. However, the reverse epic I think of as 3 short climbs, each over 2 kilometers long, as it has short sections of flat or downhill in between. This will further reduce the group, but expect action to really take off on the Radio Tower climb. Once again, this climb is featured, and the group will be small once the riders summit. On the descent, riders will be begging to find a group to work with, as they still have a flat section and the Zwift KOM to tackle. The Zwift KOM isn't typically hard, but with a tough day so far, we will see who has the legs to survive this final bit. Number 4. The real-life La Vuelta route features a grueling Alta del Angleru, or Angleru. In addition, the lead-in is brutal with 2 Category 1 climbs before it goes to the summit finish on the Angleru. This was first featured in La Vuelta in 1999 and is 12.5 kilometers and an average of 10.2%. This brutal climbs last 6.5k, average a whopping 13.5%, with ramps going up to 24%. In Zwift, the riders will tackle the mountain route course. The middle of this route features the Category 2 Epic KOM, only at an average gradient of 3.9%, but is one of the longer climbs in Zwift at 9.5 kilometers. The pace up the Epic is expected to be high, but the strongmen will likely remain grouped at the top. This is because one of the most feared climbs in the game comes immediately after, the bonus climb, the Radio Tower climb. It is only 1.1 kilometers long, but averages a whopping 13.7% with a max gradient of 16.1%. Attacks are sure to be launched here. Anyone left in the front group will surely be suffering, and gaps will be expected as the riders summit. The question is, will they be able to hold off would-be chasers behind them? Number 5. Modeled after La Vuelta Stage 8 from Diana to Zort de Cati, it features 3 Cat 2 climbs and 1 Cat 3 climb at the beginning half of the stage, and the last 20 kilometers features a Category 1 Zore de Cati. The Chasing Red series doesn't feature a ton of elevation gain, with 491 meters and only 1 Category 4 climb. However, the profile offers virtually no flat sections and is consistently going up and down. It features multiple sections with constant elevation gain, and attacks are expected to come early as the GC contenders try and soften the peloton before the Yorkshire KOM. This is about 1.2 kilometers with an average gradient of 5.5%. Overall, this is going to be a grueling 18-stage, 21-day race. Let me know in the comment section below if you have any other stages that you've identified as being tough ones for this series. Thank you, and tune in next time.